Hello everybody, I am Big G, and welcome to Hearts of Iron 3. I mentioned in one of my recent RimWorld videos that I was pretty much done with this game. Ever since I've said that, I've so desperately wanted to come back. And I realised there's one thing that I never did in Hearts of Iron, which I've always wanted to do. And that is, the premise of this game will be Big G versus the world. So the way that this is going to work, so I'm playing with the Random Nations mod. So this has split the world into 200 different countries of varying sizes, ideologies, strengths, all that kind of crap. I'm playing as Uganda, and what I'm going to do is until 1937 I cannot declare war, and then 1937 to 38 I can expand, I can consolidate my position, but become 1938, I am obliged to declare war on all three faction members, that's the Axis, Allies and Comintern, and all of my neighbours at that period. So I basically have 2 years from today, almost. I have been playing for a bit just to get the game set up. And then I will fight what is going to be the epic clash of the world versus me, in essence. I am aware, by the way, that there is a Hearts of Iron 4 out now. I prefer Hearts of Iron 3. I just do. It's quite interesting. I think there are unquestionably some things that Hearts of Iron 4 does better, but for the things that I enjoy about this game, which are sort of strategic depth and tactical thinking and strategic patience, to coin Obama's term, all of that kind of stuff, actually, I don't think that Hearts of Iron 4 is as good as this game. In fact, I think it lags behind it quite significantly. Hearts of Iron 3 is just a more interesting game in that respect. So that's why I'm playing it. And also, there is a nostalgic factor for me. Hearts of Iron 3 definitely means much more to me than Hearts of Iron 4 ever will do, I think. I haven't invested the time in it. I haven't invested a great deal of effort in it, but this game just means so much. I've done it. I've been around the world. I've played every nation, basically. And I'm just ready. I'm sorry, I'm doing the thing where I'm zooming in and out just whilst commentating. There's an apology. That is something I have done. Right, so what I've set up so far is I've just set up some basic text to research. I've set up some basic production lines, and I have sorted out my politics, put various people in places that give me good bonuses. My criteria for a nation was somewhere with a decent IC, so I'm playing with 46 IC, which is quite decent for this mod. I've got a decent leadership, 15.12, which is very good, I'd say. And basically I wanted somewhere not in North America or Europe, because those are obviously the continents which are the best or most well known. So I wanted to play in Asia really because it's different, and it's going to be a different dynamic. So I'm playing as Uganda, which in this world is based in the Himalayas and around sort of the Ganges, or the tributaries of the Ganges anyway. So yes, it's going to be good. My capital is here in the south. I've started with 4 divisions or so, and I've built some more since. So we're doing okay though. My neighbours all look relatively similar to me in power. Garm are it did tell me a minute ago. Sorry, my apologies. I tried to figure it all out. Maybe it's on the intelligence screen. I can't remember. I can't remember how to do this. I thought you could tell what ideology they followed. Well, the Kosovo are a social liberal. Sorry, yes, it does tell you. It's right at the top. Just missed it. So these are my neighbours. They're democratic. They are a monarchist. Galatia are social conservative, so they are democratic. Market liberals, so they're democratic. And Gibraltar are social democrats, so they are also democratic. So we have 3 democratic neighbours, and we have 3 monarchist neighbours. Now we ourselves are also monarchist. We're a paternal autocrat, which is sort of slightly fascistic, but not quite proper fascist or national socialist. We're sort of like the watered down Nazis, I suppose. Is probably a better way to put it. So what that's going to mean is it's going to we can claim our cause to build the proper, as it should be, nation of Uganda, which is all this land that we claim is catched in green. And by that point, I hope to have got that done by 1938, at which point I will be in a position to probably fight the rest of the world, but we'll find out. Aquitaine are the leaders of the Allies, and they're one of the few majors on this map. There are only 4 majors starting out with: the Netherlands, Aquitaine, Bahrain, which are the 3 faction leaders respectively, and Manitoba, who I haven't actually found. I don't know where they are, which is quite interesting. But Aquitaine are based here, so they are very close to us, and hopefully they don't get too influential with our democratic neighbours. The Netherlands are the leaders of the Axis, and they're based on sort of Libya, Mali, Chad sort of area. Not Mali, sorry, Niger, Chad area. And then, of course, we have Bahrain, which is in Moscow region as the leader of the Comintern, which I found quite appropriate. And also, they're close to the Soviet Union as well, so who knows. Don't know how that happened, but I quite enjoy it when stuff like that actually happens. Sorry, I'll keep the clock moving along. Yeah, so Hearts of Iron 3A. It's been a really long time since I played this game, so hopefully I'm not going to screw it up massively. I am playing on very hard difficulty, so there's every chance that I could. So I have had some researchers finished here, so I'm going to just take them off. One thing I never realised about this game in the past, when I used to play it like all the time, was the fact that researching ahead of time gave you a penalty. I never knew that. Nothing ever explained that to you. You get a little icon up here in the top left where it says that you're researching inefficiently, but at no point does it say what that actually entails, and it slows your research down by 50% depending on for that one specific tech, depending on how many years in advance it is. So that's a huge amount, which I never knew. Now, one of the interesting curiosities about Uganda, I should say, is the fact they start with a navy, despite being totally landlocked. So, Naval Start Force 318, a very catchy name if I do say so myself, is based here, in this province, which doesn't have a sea, which is quite confusing. So, I don't know how this has happened. But yeah, I have a navy. I don't know how that's happened, honestly. That's got to be a bug of some description. But obviously, they're never going to be able to do anything because, well, what use is a navy on land? It doesn't do anything, does it? So we've had agriculture finish up, which is one of our good starting techs. I'm going to start the research on census tabulation because that will reduce our future research time, which is always good. You do get a bonus of 400 manpower to start with when you start on the mod, and I started with about 500, so I'm up to 846 now, which is quite nice for 1936. But obviously I'm going to have to keep that up there because I can foresee manpower being a big problem for us. In essence, if you're fighting everyone in the world, you're never going to be able to field enough troops, and those that you do have will be depleted. Now, what I should say is I don't think that Hearts of Iron 3 ever very effectively modelled the consequences of being under strength. So your divisions all have 2 bars. You have a strength bar and you have an organisation bar. Now, the organisation bar will deplete when they're in combat, or they're attacking, or they're defending, and if it depletes to 0, then they have to retreat. But if the strength bar depletes to 0, or near to 0, and break... Well, actually, that is true, they do. I forgot about that. Ignore everything I've just said. Yeah, if your strength goes down low enough, your troops will shatter, and they will respawn in your capital having lost a lot of their strength and men. But there is certainly a point at which the strength bar disproportionately affects the organisation bar. So I'd say that having an under strength division by even a couple of thousand people doesn't have a big impact on your combat effectiveness. But you're having like an organisation of 1, for example, means that you'll instantly retreat from combat. The Black Ice mod is a good example of this, where people will fight on literally forever with like 1 person. It's quite ridiculous, to be honest. So this year I decided not to record the first bit just simply because it's waiting for time to pass. There is no organisation to do, so normally what I'd have been doing in one of my previous games is I'd be organising the army I already have. I don't already have an army, so in essence there is no point. And I'm also hoping that most people, probably most people that are watching are relatively familiar with the Hearts of Iron series. With Hearts of Iron 4 out now, and probably having perhaps played Hearts of Iron 3 in the past. I don't know how interested you all are in learning about the mechanics of the game, but I will certainly go through things with you if you would like me to. Now, we've finished radio tech. Radio tech is so important. So I'm going to get radios research because that gives you a plus 10% combat efficiency in any situation, which is really big. And I'm also going to start the research on radio detection equipment with a view to build radar stations in the future. But I understand that's not a priority right now. I just don't want to fall behind on that and find one day I needed radar. So the three factions start with only one nation in, and they are set to be the nations with the most leadership, which I thought is the most appropriate way to deal with it when I set up the game. So they will be able to research the most, and they'll be able to undertake the most diplomatic activity. If you just look, we've got some smugglers heading towards Gibraltar. Now, I have no intention of Gibraltar surviving, so I'm going to seize the cargo, take their money is what I'm going to do. You can just see here on the right hand side just how many people Aquitaine are influencing. They're sending emissaries around the world to persuade some people to join their faction. I'm sure the Axis, the Axis are doing the same, yes, and so are the Comintern, but less so for the Comintern. The Axis and allies are certainly quite gregarious, but they're socialising at the moment. These factions tend to get huge, is the best way to put it. Honestly, some of the factions I've seen on this mod are absolutely insane. Like, they are like dozens of countries strong. So unlike in the base game, where you tend to have your factions made up of one or two very powerful major nations, in this mod it's very favoured towards having a lot of nations be in your faction. I feel like we're more than good enough by the fact that we have my tactical and analytical expertise at the helm, that we will not need any kind of assistance. I should say, by the way, that if you would like to be in this game, unfortunately, I cannot name leaders or commanders after people, which I think would be really cool if you could. But I can name individual units and brigades, ships, air wings, special forces, that kind of thing after people. So if you would like to be involved in this game, put a comment below and you'll appear in as somewhere. We'll have like the big G division somewhere maybe. So we have 2 corps of infantry really ready to go at the moment, 1 of 5 divisions and 1 of 3 divisions. I have got to recruit one other artillery brigade for the engineers. What happened was one of my start units spawned with engineers, but I don't think they're worth having with standard infantry, so I split them off. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but I've got to replace the support brigade, obviously, with the brigade of artillery. I'm depleting my energy quite quickly. I'm hoping, if I've calculated correctly, we should be fine until we conquer more land, so I'm hoping that we'll be okay to last until then. My air force is quite interesting. I started with 4 wings of tactical bombers and a single wing of fighters. They're quite poor tech, I should say, here. We hardly know how planes work, to be fair. So we just have a lot of them currently, a lot of bombers specifically. We obviously subscribe to the view that the bomber will always get through. Oh, that's like 1938 political. Well done, Giles. Always good to keep it political. But our tech, just as we started with, each nation in this mod starts with a random focus. So if you look here at the bottom, you'll see that our armor practical and almost automotive theory and our mobile unit theory and our mobile unit practical, both quite high. Obviously our infantry theory is going up because we're researching that and building infantry quite a lot of at the moment. But those were basically our strengths at the beginning of the game. We know nothing about ships or naval combat or air combat at all, which is fine by me. Frankly, you know, we have a navy, very oddly. Don't know how it got here, what it's doing. But we shouldn't have. We're a landlocked nation, so that makes a lot of sense, really. I'm not entirely certain of the relative strength of my neighbours, but I'm very much hoping that I can overcome them. If you take a look at my VPs, they're all spread out in a nice little line. This is my capital here, of Shandol. But these 4 provinces here are those that I have to defend. So if it all comes down to the wire, 2 of them are mountainous, which is going to help us a very great deal. We've also got some land forts, although albeit level 2 and level 1, and level 2 here. But we've also got some rivers. So this territory should, if it all comes to it, be relatively defensible. But I'm hoping that it won't come to that. Now we've got another run of 5 infantry finished here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get these people deployed on the map. These will be assigned to the 3rd Infantry Corps. Corpsa. And we'll get a new commander in place for this. Any drill masters are always good because they increase the experience gain of any troops below them. I realised I never filled that division up, that corps up, so they can go back. We'll get him in here. If I can get my level 5 commanders even higher at this stage, that would be really good. Right. No, I'm not upgrading. It's not worth it at this stage of the game. And we have yet again freed up some... we just need bodies on the floor, to be honest, now. So we're going to recruit even more infantry. It's going to be insane, but we literally need to be able to cover our borders. So I need bodies on the floor. I wouldn't recommend militia because their organisation just doesn't stand up to the job, but infantry hopefully will. I did briefly have a scan through nations, which I thought were appropriate. I felt that Uganda had power in this game. I'd say it sort of averages between 40 to 60 IC is what most nations have at this in this game. There are obviously weaker ones. Casamanche was one of the weaker ones that I looked at playing, but they are too weak, unfortunately. They only have about an IC of 10. So I think on the premise of the game that we're looking at to start on, this game would just not have been feasible with them, unfortunately. But yeah, I think we're probably we're on par with our neighbours. Gibraltar, they'll be one of my first targets, I foresee. Sorry, I'm keeping up track on lots of things at once. Mobile warfare is just finished, so we've got our combat movement up again. I'll increase the organisation for my artillery brigades, because that's always important by using assault concentration. Yeah, so Gibraltar will be one of my first targets. Now, to get to their capital, I'm going to have to cross 3 or 4 rivers, which is going to be a challenge. And their VPs, which are their victory provinces, which are what you need to capture to defeat countries in this game, are quite a way away from my borders. But obviously, Punakha here, sorry, I apologise, is close to me, so I should seize that with no problem at all. But it'd be interesting to see what relationships these countries forge with their neighbours, because of course there's nothing to stop them from entering into private alliances or deals with other countries that even I'm forbid from making. So I thought Gibraltar would be my first target, but probably the easiest target would be Galatia, simply because their capital is so adjacent to my province, and I think they only have the one victory province, if I read that correctly. Oh, they're good, we've got some more leadership, and we have some more infantry organisation. Both of those things are wonderful. We'll cancel them both for now. Actually, infantry warfare can stay on, as it's still on time. What else do I need to do? We'll get the basic bomb research. That's probably quite a handy thing to have. Yeah, basic bomb. We're going to need that if we're going to drop anything from the plane. I think that one of the real strengths about the random mod is that it isn't so procedural. The AI was flexible enough to deal with threats. I always felt that it was very rooted in what it would do. It would be very poor adjusting to anything which happened outside of the standard sort of 1936 Danziger War, 1939, Barbarossa, etc, etc. It was all very scripted, and I think to its credit that is something that Hearts of Iron 4 does a lot better. I just don't enjoy it as much as this game. I really don't. Our national unity is quite good, by the way. I've just realised there's an 80s, which with a fractured government isn't bad at all. The reason we have a fractured government is because we don't have enough ministers that are a paternal autocrat. These two National Socialists here, or more accurately the one National Socialist, give us that penalty, and I can't replace them with someone of my party. So effectively they have to just stay, which is annoying. Yes, I did research mountain infantry. Because of where we are, the geography of being in the Himalayas, I just felt that that probably might be important. But we'll find out. We may never actually end up fighting in the Himalayas. So on an assessment of my neighbours again, I was saying that Galatia would be easy to take. I don't think they have a great deal of industry. It just does seem to be their capital of Bathinda, or Fatinda, which is worth taking. Other than that, we have Savoy to the north. Now, these will be quite tricky. They have got some IC provinces, resource provinces, but not a great deal. I just think that it's going to be difficult to cross. I suppose we've already crossed the Himalayas, so maybe it wouldn't be. The infrastructure in this game is always a bit of a patchwork, because it's random. So we could be able to do that. I don't want to pick a fight with Kosovo, because they just seem to be a very big nation. Not necessarily an industrialised one, but just a big one. And I can see myself fighting through a hell of a lot of mountains around there. I don't know who these people are. Who are they? They are the Sultanate de Sulu, the nation closest to us, which is why I pinned them straight away as a potential target. I'm looking to get my land doctrines up there. Max assault, tactical support. Or do I go for air tactics? I'm going to go for tactical pilot training because we already have 4 bombers, you see. So I'm hoping that we can use those more effectively. So yeah, sorry. Garm also look like quite a juicy target. They have a lot of IC provinces, I should say. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. There's quite a lot, and a 5th here. Oh, 6th. Wow, 6 IC provinces, but they, of course, by virtue of that, are probably stronger than my neighbours. So I'll have to bear that in mind as well. Gibraltar, I felt, would just be a nice first take. Or maybe Garm. I don't know. I have to think about it. I think I just decided on Gibraltar because they go to the coast. Thinking about it, I'm not sure they're the best people to go for. Oh well, we'll think about it. Also, it is a factor on who I can declare war on. So, I should say, it's 15th of December. So that first year, half of which you didn't see, has gone by incredibly fast. And the grand strength, which I've managed to muster, is, well, close to 100k, non-mobilised. So obviously that will go up when we mobilise. Very tricky. Right, so we've researched anti-tank barrels now, so we'll take that off the research list, and we'll work on, where's ground attack tactics? Logistical interdiction, that's not what I want. Ground attack, that's the one I want. That means that my bombers will suffer less of a penalty for each mission they conduct. I think we are going to be quite a bomber-orientated faction, especially seeing as we will run out of manpower, I think. Right, okay, we've got some more fuel tanks for our fighters. That's fine there. We'll chuck a bit more. We'll chuck a few more land doctrines back on the pile. We'll go for delay because it's a defensive one, and we'll probably need it, to be honest. Basic aero engine, so we've got quite a few techs finishing up at the moment, which is good. Do I want to research tanks? Keep that tech up? Oh, I don't know. We'll go for mountain warfare equipment because they might as well. We'll keep our attrition down, but we are fighting in the mountains. And I'll queue up mass assault as well, as I think that's quite important just in general. Right, okay, it's called radios. Anyway, it's a bank holiday this weekend, which is nice. So it's technically a Monday, which is absolutely lovely. Bank holiday in the UK is like a national holiday, by the way, so I don't have to take holiday for this. Wonderful. And it is time. It's 31st of December mod at the beginning of the game. I can now be broken. And if you flit from... No, it's fine. Okay, so those non-aggression packs are over. I don't think we'll have the neutrality to declare war straight away. But I may well look to see if I can. Let's go. So my neighbours. I'd have to have my neutrality lower than 20.37. Now, obviously, as the world tension goes up, proverbially to coin a Hearts of Iron 4 phrase, what will happen is my own neutrality will fall. So I can't influence it myself at the moment for something to happen. But I don't want to wait for too long and find that I'm totally unprepared for this war. So I'm going to switch to officers, and I'm actually going to start to reinforce and upgrade. At this stage, it's probably quite important, as I've only got 42% of the officers I actually need. The reason that I do it, it's a bit gamey, but basically it's much quicker to recruit officers all in one go than it is to recruit them sort of steadily throughout your as you're conducting research. So obviously I've got a bigger tech advantage now than I would have done, say, if I had balanced half and half between my officers and my research. And there's also no advantage to not building any supplies, which is something I really do think is quite gamey, but is true. So I've literally been starving my people. They haven't had any bullets for months. They're all just walking skeletons and stuff. But yeah, effectively it doesn't matter. Again, it's much quicker to produce supplies all in one go and to build up your production than it is to balance it one way or another, particularly because the way the practicals and theories work in this game. If you stack them, as in you build one after the other, then you benefit much more from it than balancing your economy. I've noticed that Galatia have just opted to build Marines. Now, Marines I wouldn't have said are a great thing to build when you're landlocked, but I suppose they have visions for their future empire, don't they? They're thinking about the Grand Galatian Empire, which will spread across the whole world one day. I, however, am literally thinking about conquering the whole world. So, and also, they're going to be easy to gobble up. I wonder who's going to make the first move. I have kept all the pop-ups on, so we'll find out who goes to war first and when people start to join factions and stuff. We've already managed to make a whole month without anyone making a move yet, which I'd say is quite surprising. I did do a very brief test game where just to see that the mod was working and that everything was running properly until 1939. I suppose it's quite a long test game really, but I just sort of played through and declared wars and did stuff. Kept the timer running as opposed to sort of really playing. It was absolutely fine, so I'm hoping we shouldn't have any technical issues in this game. But I have got auto saves on, so obviously I can always just edit videos to bring you back to back where we were. So the Netherlands, as the leader of the Axis, I'm unsurprised that they are the first nation to make an aggressive move. They've mobilised their armies, so in a month they should be good to go, or good to go as in ready to declare war. My own troops are slowly getting ready. I haven't mobilised, but obviously they are now starting to organise themselves. Now they've got some food and bullets to actually trade and stuff with. And my officers are already up to 70, so we're doing okay. Your officer ratio affects how your total level of organisation. So obviously if they're at 0, then your troops can be in total 0% organised. But if you go above 100%, then your troops can be even more organised, which is always something to bear in mind. The names, by the way, I just absolutely love. Some of the pictures you get on this are just so funny. Because they're just any leader, they've just picked like generic Google photos of commanders and assigned them random names. So Kip Bachelder, oh that's a great name. I'd love to have Bachelder, Giles Bachelder. Oh, what a great name. So if you can hear any music, it is her, and you can blame her, and you can direct all your complaints to her about the quality of this video. Oh, it's good to be back in Hearts of Iron 3. It's been such a long time since I've played this game. Such a long time. I'm really tempted to disband this, because I'm never going to be able to move it out to sea, right? It's going to get going. I'm disbanding my navy. It serves no purpose. So, it's just going to be eating supplies, in essence. I've realised at the moment I've got amassing my army here by my capital. I'm going to have to adjust that, I reckon, because they can't stay here forever. Now we've got a new corps, the third, particularly the 4th Infantry Corps. Have we got any more drill masters? Yes, we have. You're very good, actually. So we'll get you in place, and we'll get Carol Nakagawa here in place as well. There we go. In terms of an endpoint for this game, you can obviously all let me know below what you'd like to see. I myself don't really have... Oh, this is annoying. Yeah, we'll take that. That's not such a big hit. I myself don't really have a end game as such. I'm not necessarily planning on doing a world conquest. I'm not that worried about, for example, defeating every other nation in the world. I think if there's a stage where it's evident that I am sort of the world superpower and have destroyed my opponents, then I will consider ending the series. But it depends how it's going, how much we're enjoying it, how long it's gone on for, all that kind of stuff. Remember, I do have other content that I'd like to bring you as well. I am looking forward to doing this, but obviously I'm bear in mind that there are other games as well that I'd like to bring you, and they will take time. So I want to find the time to be able to do each. That being said, talking about time, I think what I'd like to do is, at the moment I'm aiming for 1 RimWorld and 1 Hearts of Iron video per day. Is again aiming for. I don't like to commit to it because I have a lot of other things going on in my life as well. But I think at the moment, with my channel being so small and everything, I absolutely no problem at all with aiming for it and hoping that I can stick to that schedule. But obviously, just please understand that I can't always. My armour division that I placed on production is just taking forever to build. It's going to be ready in 1941. Oh, I need more infantry. Once I've conquered my neighbours, it'll be fine. Talking of which, it's now the 25th of Feb. We're almost in March now, and no one has joined a faction or declared war on anyone. When I played my test game, it happened so instantaneously. It was literally like relatively peaceful, I'd say. Maybe everyone's not really... Maybe they've heard that Uganda is so terrifying. Oh, there we go. That was very timely. So the Netherlands. I love the way that you address you as well. King. Oi, kingy. Netherlands, they've declared war on their new enemy. It's a limited war. We're not involved. Very interesting. So the Netherlands have started their first war with the state of Ingushetia, which I don't know where that is. Well, obviously in real life it's in Tunisia and Algeria. But they are social conservatives. So the conservatives, the right wing, are having a fight. I very much favour the Netherlands to win this war, as obviously they are a major power as opposed to Ingushetia that don't feature on that list, and they are a leader of a faction, so they obviously have a lot more leadership as well. Now we'll see what that's done to our world tension. I still hasn't affected it too much. I will keep you updated with the various wars that are going on. Faction wars I'm slightly more interested in than just individual private wars, but obviously as we move along, I will, if there are particularly big ones, particularly ones that affect us, I'll keep you abreast of those as well. Anyway, that was my alarm, so this is the preparation episode, and on that note, Darfur has declared war on Germany. Here we are. Darfur look quite heavily outgunned on the map, but they also look quite outgunned industrially, just by looking at what provinces that Germany has access to. So, on that note, best of luck to Darfur. I've been Big G. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the rest of the series. I promise, by the way, that the rate of commentary will slow down. I just wanted to get through to a point where we could move the timeline on a bit. And now we're ready to go to war. I think it's time. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.